Former Ambassador Kiari Liman-Tinguiri, thank you very much for joining us this morning here in Washington.
Thank you for having me.
So let me ask you, what is the relevance of President Bazoum in detention based on principle of national security and human rights?
Okay, yes, as you mentioned, President Bazoum has been detained for 500 days now. There is no national security ground for this. The junta now has control over all the country and the power. They have been assuming power for 16 months now.
The military junta said that the core reason why he was overthrown was because of his failure to meet the aspirations of the people, including the ability to stop or to combat terrorists in the Sahel who have been attacking the people, and that he had failed to do that. That is the reason why they said he had to go.
Again, it's easy to demonstrate that this is a wrong claim, because what happens after the coup is just worse than the situation before when it comes to people's security. But we are not yet, we are no longer there. And people all over the world are calling for the release of President Bazoum, unconditional release of President Bazoum. That's what I'm here to do also.
Do you think the military junta is listening to the call for him to be released?
It has to listen. It has to listen. We're living in an open world. You cannot just keep ignoring what the rest of the world is saying. This week, a book has been released in France with calling for freedom for Bazoum. This book was written by 25 people from 14 West African countries. The preface was written by a very famous anthropologist, Jean-Pierre Olivier de Sardin, who is French citizen but also Niger citizens. The book has been edited by a journalist, Mrs. Geneviève Gotzinger, and a lawyer, Maître Ismaël Konaté, who happened to be Attorney General of the Republic of Mali. When you go through these letters, you have compelling reason that President Bazoum should be free if our country has to have any sort of future. What is going on the ground now is, we're in a situation where a sort of new narrative is going on in the country. We are still, and since the 90s, one of the poorest countries in the world. We're a landlocked country. Yet the new narrative is that we have no problem of development to fix. We have only enemies. That's it. And who are the enemies? The chief of them is France, and then the US, and then the European Union, and then our neighbors, Nigeria and Benin. These are the enemies. But we don't have any problem. We don't have any development problem. We don't have any growth problem. We don't have any economic problem. We have only enemies. That will not work.
So let's look at the call for more pressure to be put on the government or the military junta in Niamey at the moment. People are calling for the IMF and the World Bank to put pressure on them for an expedited move to return Niger to a constitutional order. Where do you stand on that?
I mean, the thing is, it's time for everybody, including the junta, that it's in the best interest of Niger to calm down the situation, to back to normal politics, to open the civil and political space. We cannot, I think, sustain to be out of the real world and just live on speak and rhetoric of old days. That's easy. That makes a good show, that makes a good post on social media, but that does not develop a country, that does not fix any problem, and that does not make people better.
What is the situation on the ground like at the moment?
I mean, the situation on the ground is the situation of a very poor country where, for many reasons, poverty has increased.
So looking forward, what are your expectations? Do you see Niger returning to constitutional rule anytime soon?
I strongly hope. I strongly hope that will happen. I hope and I will work for it. But now, the matter on the table is freedom for President Bazoum and all those who are detained politically.
Some of President Bazoum's critics say that he poses a significant threat to the territorial integrity and security of Niger, and that is why he has to be held in order to calm down the situation before returning to constitutional rule.
What does it mean to pose a threat? Those who are putting threat on Niger's security and integrity are well known. The same military were fighting them and were not able, even with the support of our partners, to defeat them, and they are still around. So this is just propaganda. They are still around. So I don't believe in this risk of integrity of the country or any security ground to justify the detention of President Bazoum or anybody else. That's not true. That's not true. That's just justification. That's not rhetoric behind something that is unsustainable. It's not the rhetoric that will make us richer. It's not the rhetoric that will make us reduce poverty. It's not the rhetoric that will give jobs to our youth.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.